Hello, everyone. Good morning. If you're in Australia, it's 10 a.m. in Sydney here on Thursday morning. If you're in the USA, it's going to be somewhere between 6 and 8. Sorry about the rescheduling with the live stream. Unbelievable things have happened, but not to worry. I'm Rod. This is the Stay Strong, Live Long channel, and I've got a very special guest today, Kerry Mann, who you may know from HomeSteadHow. We're going to be talking to Kerry about how he got started with the carnivore way of eating. I think it was about 6 months ago now, and he's resolved a plethora of health issues. No doubt he's going to have heaps of other things that he can talk to us about. If you are just tuning in, let us know where you're from in the chat, and we'll give you a shout out. And if you do want to ask questions of Kerry, which I'm sure some of you will, then just drop a I'll better change that wording there. Just drop a Q in front of your comment, and then we'll pick that up as well, just so I can differentiate those from the everyday comments as well. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring in our special guest for today. How are you, buddy? There's supposed to be an applause there happening. Oh,
I hear it. That's awesome. Nice. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I was watching the wheels go round and around. I thought, oh, the applause isn't going to happen for Kerry. Yeah, you're welcome. Now, I think we've got a little bit of delay with StreamYard today, but we'll just make the most of it. We'll just see how we go. Yeah, not sure what the delay is. Are you still there, Kerry?
Yep. There's little delay.
All right. Yeah, little delay. I'll just try opening my door actually and just see if it's me. I don't think it's me, but whatever could go wrong has actually gone wrong today. I know that you've got a little bit of a story to tell, haven't you? Because we're both like half an hour later than we were expecting to be, but I didn't see what the explanation was, unless it's something that you don't want to share on here.
No, I'm happy to. Yeah, I was at home and I came to the movie theater. This is like my new office. It's quieter here. We got fast internet here. And so I was coming to the office and I got pulled over. And he's like, "Do you know why I'm pulling you over?" And I'm like, I wasn't trying to be smart or anything. I'm just like, no, I really don't. I wasn't doing anything wrong at all, or at least I didn't think so. He's like, "Well, you know what the speed limit is?" And he's asking me all these questions. I'm like, I got to get to this live stream soon. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, so I was going 41 in a 35. And he said, "You know, you were speeding." I was like, I didn't know I was. And then when he said 41 and a 35, I had to hold back. I was like, that's why you're pulling me over? That's illegal? What am I doing wrong here? I'm like, okay. So anyhow, that egregious action of going a couple miles an hour over, I got pulled over. But then I said, "Do you mind if I call my friend Rod and just tell him I'm probably going to be running a little bit late?" And then when I looked at my phone, you had just emailed me and said that it was going to be a half an hour late. So it all worked out perfectly. And I only got a $10 ticket. So.
Nice. Kerry, I'm just going to go and open a door because I've got a feeling that the Wi-Fi is my issue. I don't know. I feel like one of my sons has gone and moved something while I'm not here. So,
sure. Yeah, no worries.
Stand by, everybody. Be right back.
Right. Well, Rod goes and does that. I was just editing the 24-hour live stream we did. I still have post-traumatic stress from right here. I was just editing, Rod, before I came over here. The 24-hour live stream, I'm going through and pulling out like my favorite clips from it, and I'm going to do another video on that. But coming back in here and sitting here was a little bit stressful. It was it looked like a war zone in here. There was just water bottles everywhere and just papers all over the place. And I'm so glad that we did it. But I'm also equally happy that it's done now and we can move on and start filming. So.
Yeah, that must be a relief. Okay, so yeah, Wi-Fi is one of those like the water. You just expect it to turn on and just work. And today of all days, I think it's given me some grief. So I apologise to everyone for how unprofessional this is looking at the moment. I'm just going to do a quick shout out, and then I'm going to go and reboot my router, and and I'll just leave.
Sure,
I'll
no
get you to
problem.
talk, and then we'll because otherwise I won't be able to do it this way. Westfield 90, thank you for. Well, there you go. There's a fan for you, Kerry. Susan Hampton, thanks for tuning in. You're always tuning in on every single live stream. I see you on the comments on a lot of the channels. Becky, Carnivore Dog Sitter, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Melissa Jane Middleton, I haven't seen you on live stream for a little while, but thanks for joining us. I remember you. I always recognise that. It looks like you're on the cover of Vogue or something. The officer really needs to get his quota. Yeah, I don't know whether they actually book anyone in Australia unless it's 9. You've got to be like 9 Ks or more over. Generally, I think that's usually how it goes. So that's a bit rough. He was having a bit of a bad day. And Sarah, Simon Gibbs. So Sarah, sorry, yes, I remember you, Sarah. Hello from South Coast, New South Wales. Thanks for joining us today. Now, all of a sudden, it seems like this is okay. Is my picture and sound okay to you, Kerry?
It does. It seems better and it seems clear. It was a little blurry before, but it's nice and crisp now. I think you might be good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not going to muck with it then. So I'll just leave it as it is, and we'll see how we go.
Right.
All right. Well, why don't we get into the meat of the conversation? So, I mean, I think a lot of people some people are familiar with who you are. So perhaps just a quick background about your life, and then how you got started with the Carnivore Way, what your health was like before you got started, and how things have changed for you.
Yeah, sure. So I just I'm during the 24-hour live stream I mentioned before, which was Saturday. That was my 6 months as a carnivore. Um, Prior to that, I've been on every diet under the sun. My heaviest, I was 100 pounds heavier than I am today. I've had some success over the years doing keto, but I yo-yo dieted like crazy. It's kind of interesting. I've been doing YouTube for 8 years now, and I'll have people comment,
Wow.
your YouTube video 2 years ago, you weren't that big. And then I just tell them, I'm like, well, look either 4 months before that or 4 months after, because I just yo-yoed like crazy. I would go up and down like 50 pounds over and over again throughout the years, mostly on keto. But yeah, I about 6 months ago, I was pretty much at my lowest. So I didn't do carnivore diet to lose weight. I mean, it was definitely an added benefit, but I had horrible depression and anxiety for years and years. I've been on every antidepressant. I think for about 8 years I was on antidepressants, and they kept changing them and upping the dosage, and just nothing was working. Had really bad anxiety. I was diagnosed with IBS a couple of years ago. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. I went in and did a sleep study, and I would wake up literally hundreds of times throughout the night, just gasping for air. I had really bad pain in my elbows and lower back. The thing that the thing that finally convinced me that I needed to do something drastic besides all of those other things, I also had acid reflux. I also had brain fog, and probably 25 other issues. It's just so many. People always say, Kerry, you're so enthusiastic on carnivore. I'm like, if you would have seen me before, you would understand why, because I was completely the opposite. But over the last 2 years now, I started getting this pain in my right foot, my toe in my right foot. And I went to the doctor, and they said, we think it's gout because it runs in your family. But they checked my uric acid levels, and they were normal. Normally, those are high if you have gout. And I didn't think it was gout, but the doctor said it was gout. He put me on gout meds. And he's like, you got to give it some time, buddy. Give it some time. So I did that for a couple months, and it didn't do anything for the pain. And then he's like, well, let's up the dosage. And so I went through that just like I did with the antidepressants over the years. This progression of updating the dosage on the medicine, doing that for like 9 months to a year, and then the doctor saying, well, let's just try a different medicine now. I did that with the depression and also with this foot. Long story short, with the foot, it just got worse and worse. There was a point where I was at crutches, using crutches. It would flare up. It literally felt like a broken bone. And for about 18 months or so before going on carnivore, I did almost nothing. Like before that, I wasn't very active, but I would do some things. Like I would go golfing with my dad every now and then. I was just doing nothing. It was just miserable. And then the depression and stuff was starting to sit in because I was just spending a lot of time at home. And the foot just got worse and worse and worse to the point I finally went to a different doctor. And he's like, that's not even gout. You just have horrible inflammation in that toe. And we can do a surgery on it. And it would have to like cut the toe, and it was really a drastic kind of thing. And right around that time, I was on YouTube. I've been doing YouTube for years. I love YouTube. The YouTube gods blessed me. I don't know how this video came up, but a video from Dante from Frigno Freedom came up, and it was this crazy guy who was uh, really overweight and unhealthy, saying he's just starting this lion diet where he's just going to eat meat and meat only. And I was like, this guy is crazy. I started watching his video with my wife, and I'm like, it's crazy. But then I'm like, there's something to it, because I have had success with keto, and the horrible depression I've had throughout my life. The only thing that's ever been able to touch it or help it a little bit has been keto. And so I'm like, there's something to this. So anyways, I watched his video, and I don't know, the first couple of weeks, he's just eating meat only. And then I noticed the video was from 2 years ago. I said to my wife, Jen, I'm like, let's fast forward and see this guy's video today. There's no way this crazy guy's still eating meat 2 years later. And then I did that. I looked at the first video, the most recent video he did from like a couple days ago. You couldn't even recognize Dante. I'm talking about Dante from Frigno Freedom, by the way. You couldn't even recognize him 2 years later. He had continued to eat the meat and only meat, and he looked like a completely different man. He'd lost all his weight, but even more than the weight, you could just listen to the man speak, and you could hear the joy in his voice. You could see his face was just glowing. He looked like a picture of health versus before. I started clapping. I was like obnoxious. I was so excited for the guy. I'm like, this is crazy. So that's kind of what introduced me to carnivore. However, Dr. Berryfinger, Dr. Berry always does this in his thumbnails. It's a new bad habit I have, but Dr. Berryfinger, this is where Dr. Berry came in. I was still like, this guy's crazy. He's an outlier. There's something wrong with him. I couldn't wrap my brain around just eating meat. I'm like, it's not sustainable. There's no way. And so I did a lot more research, and that was when I found Dr. Berry. And then I quite literally have probably watched every Dr. Berry video. I really dug in, and I was still cynical, and I'm like, what is this guy's motive? This Dr. Berry guy, he's selling something. There's something going on. I came across a video where he's talking about eating bacon. I'm like, this guy's crazy. There's no way.
The one where he talks about the nitrates and how they're not such a big deal after all. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that one.
Yep. That was one of the many videos. But the one that finally convinced me was, I'm like, I keep trying to convince myself all these people are crazy and they're scam artists and everything, even Dr. Berry. And I'm like, I watched a video he did on reversing type 2 diabetes. And of all of my health issues and ailments, I never had type 2 diabetes, but I think I was getting close. I was probably pre. But I just came across this video, and I'm like, I didn't know you could. I didn't know anything. I'm green. I'm a rookie. I didn't really know much about type 2 diabetes, but in my head, I'm like, I didn't know that was something you could reverse. I thought you just got that and you're stuck with it, because I have family members that had type 2 diabetes forever. I've never seen them reverse it. So I watched that video, and what got me on that one was the comments. That particular video had over 1,000 comments, and almost every comment was like, Dr. Berry, you saved my life. Dr. Berry, my A1C went from this to this. One of them said this. It said, Dr. Berry, I've been going to a doctor for 10 years for this diabetes, and I watched your 10-minute video, and it's done more for me in 10 minutes than 10 years of going to this other doctor has done for me. And it was just testimonial after testimonial. If anyone out here is watching and they want to get a smile after watching Rod's channel, go check out one of those videos and just read through the comments. It's amazing, some of those comments. And so that was when I decided I'm just going to do this. For people watching, a lot of people think carnivore is insane and crazy. I was totally with you. This is what I did. I still wasn't ready to admit I'm going to just eat meat only, because it was still crazy to me. So I just reframed it in my brain, and I just said, I'm going to do an elimination diet, and I'm going to get rid of all of that other garbage. No more seed oils, no more sugar. I'm not going to eat any of that for 30 days, and I'm going to see how I feel. What I was really saying was I'm eating a meat-only diet, but I said it that other way, and it was a lot easier for me to stomach, so to speak. So that's how I did it, and it was crazy. Like in the first couple, this is the crazy part, and people think I'm lying, and I'm not. I'm telling the truth on this. And I think part of this for me was because I was doing keto on and off. So maybe I didn't have as much inflammation as other people. But the first day I started carnivore, my wife told me the next day I didn't snore for the first time in years. I snore it's like a contentious thing in our family. She's like, she's ready to go sleep in another bed. And I had the CPAP machine and all this stuff. I didn't snore at all that first night. I know that sounds crazy and unbelievable. I think for me, it's because I had done a little bit of keto easing into this. So my inflammation was down. But I've heard a lot of other people with that same claim, including Dr. Jordan Peterson. You guys can go check that out yourself. His testimony on Joe Rogan, he said, I stopped sleeping in the first week. In the first week, I've heard a lot of other people say that. That was a game changer for me because I hated that CPAP machine. I'd have to strap this apparatus around my head every night, push air through my mouth just so I wouldn't stop breathing. Like, how crazy is that of a thing? And in my head, my sleep doctor, I went to all these sleep studies. The sleep doctor told me, he's like, listen, man, I'm just going to give you the truth. You're overweight. You have to lose this weight. That's the only way you're going to end up easing any of this snoring. And you still might snore forever. But he never mentioned nutrition or inflammation. And I didn't even know that was a thing with snoring. I've since learned that afterwards. A lot of people, myself included, that snoring is simply inflammation from the horrible food we're eating. You eat a bunch of sugar, it's inflammatory. Your airway gets inflamed, your hands, your whole body gets inflamed, and you start snoring. And it makes sense now because why did Jordan Peterson stop in 1 week? It wasn't because he lost a bunch of weight. Why did I stop right away? It wasn't because I lost a bunch of weight. So that was like the big game. I was like, whoa, this carnivore thing is kind of crazy. Day one, I'm noticing this. And then that first week, other things I started to notice as well. So I think I adapted quicker than other people because I've been in and out of keto so many times, but I started feeling good. Like my mood started improving the first couple of days. Acid reflux started going away. I think in the first week I noticed that. And the foot pain I still had, that was still hurting. That wasn't touched that first week, but a lot of other things started happening really, really quickly. That was really eye-opening and noticeable for me. So I just kept doing it. I did so much research at that point that it was pretty easy transition for me. That and the fact I've done keto in the past, but I was getting all the electrolytes. I was eating plenty of fatty meat. I was getting the salt. I was drinking tons and tons of water. And a lot of people make the mistake. They just jump in and they don't do that. And they end up suffering or getting that keto flu, or they're really fatigued that first week. But I'm really thankful. My first week was pretty easy for me. Wasn't that hard at all.
And how did you go with anything sweet, like sweet foods? That was my nemesis, that one, because I'd a bit like you. I'd been doing keto for quite a long time, and then when I switched to carnivore, but I still hadn't given up anything sweet at that stage. Did you have a similar issue?
Yes, I am a sugar addict. I can't, if you gave me 1 granule of sugar right now, I would be going on a binge. And so the first week I had sugar cravings. I heard, again, Dr. Berry to the rescue. I think Dr. Berry said this: if you get cravings, eat bacon. And I just listened to the good doctor. I listened to everything. I absorbed so much information. I harp on that a lot, but people out there that are thinking doing carnivore and they're scared or they don't know how, I just say, do your research. All this information's out there. And if I didn't do that research and I got those cravings and I caved into them, maybe none of this would happen. I wouldn't even be here 6 months later. I'd be 100 pounds heavier and I'd still be miserable. But Dr. Berry said, you get cravings, eat bacon. I got a lot of sugar cravings that first week. I ate a lot of bacon, and it definitely helped. It was, I mean, I'm not going to say it was just a walk in the park. It is a challenge to get over that. I think it was a little easier for me because I'd done keto before, but I definitely got through that. Started feeling better and better. One of the other really crazy things that happened to me early on was around, I think day 8 or day 10, part of the reason I did this was for my daughter as well. My daughter, Lily, she's 18 now. She had open heart surgery when she was 13. She had 2 blood clots when she was 15. She almost died in our house. Wow. Those blood clots were from medication she was prescribed, which that's a whole other story. In retrospect, I really think if she was eating the proper human diet, she wouldn't have needed that medication and she wouldn't have almost died from the blood clots that she got. But she also has this other condition for years. It's called HS. It's a skin condition. It looks like acne, and she has it on her chest and all over her back. And this poor kid, like, open heart surgery, and then two blood clots, and then for years this horrible HS. And she has a distrust for doctors, even though I thank God for the heart surgeon, because he saved her life. She would have died without that heart surgery. But when they did the heart surgery when she was 13, they gave us a little phone. They're like, this surgery is going to take like 8 or 10 hours. We'll call you when it's done. Well, about an hour into it, the phone rang. We're like, oh my goodness, what is going on? They're like, we have to stop the surgery. And we thought something went wrong, horribly wrong with it. They're like, she's okay, but the problem is we didn't really do a good pre-op. And she had that HS right on her chest, where they would have to open her chest up for the open heart surgery, and they couldn't cut through it. So they wanted to send her home, and they wanted that HS to go down before they could even do heart surgery. So the whole HS thing goes way back to when she was 13. Now she's 18. She's had this thing for 5 years. I have never tried harder on anything than to try to help this kid with this HS. It's horribly painful. She would come to me and her mom crying, like, I just don't want to live anymore. This thing hurts so bad. So we took her to a dermatologist, and the first one gave her like this cream, and that didn't do anything. We took her to another one way up in northern Wisconsin. They tried these pills, and that didn't do anything. And in total, it was 5 different dermatologists over 5 years, thousands of dollars, specialists, everyone. Every one of them was a pill or a cream. And the last one was like, we can give her this injection, but it's going to shut down her whole immune system. I'm like, this is crazy. And none of the solutions you guys have had for the last 5 years have worked. My daughter's coming to me crying that she just doesn't want to live anymore because this hurts so bad. And so when I was researching Dr. Berry and carnivore for myself, I came across Michaela Peterson doing the Lion Diet. And she reminded me of my daughter, Lily, like a young lady that was suffering with all of these different health issues. Michaela Peterson had so many of them, and she cured all of these with Lion Diet. So in my head, that was my other why, my big why for doing carnivore, was I could kind of test this on myself, and then maybe this could help Lily out with her thing. So sorry, reel me in if I ramble too much, Rod. Sometimes I ramble too much.
That's okay. I want you to finish that story because I think it's interesting.
Okay. So Lily, around day 10 of me on carnivore, I'm like, listen, Lily, you're 18. You can do whatever you want. I'm doing this thing and I'm having crazy results. I'm only 10 days into this. I stopped snoring. My mood is starting to improve. My acid reflux went away. I'm starting to notice these other things that are happening. I'm not telling you, Lily, eat meat for 30 days. You're 18. You can do whatever you want. But I think it's the food you're eating that's causing this HS. I'm like, it just seems so clear to me then. I'm like, well, I don't know why I didn't think about it before. She's like, okay, I'm going to try it. She jumped on with me. She started doing carnivore, real strict too, which I was pretty proud of her for 18-year-old. It's a tough thing for adults to do that. She did it and she stuck to it. And 8 days into doing it, almost half of her back was cleared up. It was like a miracle. Wow. 5 years of suffering. And she still had it on her chest. She went on to do carnivore with me, and she actually did lion for a while. She went on to do it with me for 30 days. The whole thing cleared up, completely gone.
Wow.
And it really, I get so fired up about a lot of this carnivore stuff on behalf of Lily and people like her, because those 5 dermatologists, thousands of dollars, years and years, not one of them said anything about nutrition. Maybe it's just what she's eating. And now I feel foolish in retrospect, because now it's just so clear to me. It's just like, Rod, if you were allergic to peanuts and you ate some peanuts, you would have an allergic reaction. She was eating food that was causing this inflammation, this reaction. It's so simple. But for me, my whole life, I trust my doctors. You know, they've gone to school for what, 8 years or whatever. These guys, I didn't even question it. I never even would have thought about it. In retrospect, I feel so foolish. It's like, it's just what the food she was eating. It's like common sense now. But yeah, so she went on to do carnivore, and she did carnivore for 30 days. Besides this, which was like a miracle in itself, her acne cleared up. She lost a whole bunch of weight. She came walking out of her room, I don't know, around day 25 or something. My wife and I both looked at each other like, who is that? She doesn't even look like the same person. Her mood. Oh, you know, when you have teenagers, she's 18, whatever, you have teenagers, they go through hormones, they have a lot moody, this, everything, but she was just another person, just bright and cheery, and her whole face was glowing and lit up, and it was something amazing. She's still doing carnivore, but she's fallen off the wagon a couple times. But to her credit, she's still trying it. What she did was she did it for 30 days. And then I think she actually went on a little bit longer. And then she's like, I'm going to try to reintroduce some things. I was like, if you're going to do that, again, you're 18. I'm like, you got to be real careful. Do like one thing at a time. And she didn't. She just kind of brought stuff back. She tried to do keto, like vegetables, low carb vegetables and stuff like that. But the HS started coming back. Then she went back and she actually did lion with me for a while. And she's actually doing carnivore right now, but she's on and off, and she's hard to keep on it. But the good thing of all of it, I know in my head, is she has this in her toolbox now, and she's doing carnivore right now. But if she's 40 years old and she has some horrible depression, anxiety, or all these other issues I had, at least she has this in her toolbox and knows that she doesn't have to be hopeless. There's an option for her.
Yeah, and she knows how to do it. So I think there's a lot of the time food rules us. That was one of my things. Like, I didn't realize that I was completely ruled by food. I wasn't the one that was in control. I was in control. My impulses and need for, and the addiction to sweet things was in control, and certain flavors and textures and things like that. And it takes a while for those to go. But then once you learn the protocol, then you can use it to your advantage, and you can. It's a very empowering thing. Like, you really feel like you've just got control where you never had it before. That's a powerful thing, especially for teenagers, I think, because they're going through so many different things that they can feel like that nothing is within their control.
Right.
Parents are trying to control them, and they want to be independent, and this is something else. So I'm just going to run through a few other comments. There was something that Melissa Janae Middleton said about patience. One of the things I've noticed is that I was a pretty patient person before, but I don't get upset or annoyed or things like that. Like this morning's a great example. I had this live stream booked for a half an hour earlier, and I'd neglected the fact that my schedule had changed, and now I had to do like an hour and 10-minute round trip drive to get the kids to school. And I thought, holy shit, I'm not going to make it back in time. But instead of it being like a stressful thing, it's like, okay, well, we just got to deal with it. Got to send this to Kerry, jump on the StreamYard while I'm at the traffic lights, reschedule it for half an hour. It's like you're just able to think really clearly and for long periods of time as well, which is not something that I would have been able to do without any sort of, you have to have some sort of chemical intervention to make that happen. But, it's just all dietary, which is really cool. All right, so grab a few other people here. Carnivore Ron, thanks for tuning in today. And the first time I think I've seen you on this live stream there, Ron. Appreciate that. Yeah, look, there's often are people who used to be vegans, and I think it's because I think often people who go to veganism, they're looking for a solution, right? And for some people, that actually is a solution for them, or at least eliminating a lot of different toxic and processed foods does actually work for people for a period of time, and then for some of them it doesn't. And then obviously when they switched, well, then they're even more effusive about how good the protocol is. But I think at the end of the day, you just got to meet people where they actually are, and and if people are eating a certain way, and they've just got to try that out and see what works for them. And I think the critical thing is that we all sort of meet each other where we are. This is one of the things that I love how Dr. Kiltz deals with people. It doesn't matter what they have to say. He's like, well, this is kind of where you are, and I'm not going to try and ram anything down your throat. I'm going to say, well, this is an option for you. If you're going to do it for a period of time. And like, he's a fertility doctor, and I know that some people think, well, that they've got certain things they want to do, and they don't even want to consider diet as a possible intervention for improving their fertility. And he's like, well, that's okay. I mean, I can help you with that too. You can make a recommendation, and then you kind of let people make their own choices and make their own decisions after that. So Mary Naina from Melbourne, thanks for joining in, and there's your comment. Appreciate you taking the time to join us here this morning. Yeah, I've never actually worn a CPAP mask. I've had a friend who had one, and it was like the latest technology one. It was quite small, but it's still like a thing that you got to strap over your head, and you're actually able to. I suppose it's better getting that kind of sleep than to have sleep that's interrupted 100 times a night.
Yeah, it is tough though, because I like to like turn around and stuff, and you got the hose coming off of it. I don't miss it at all, for sure.
I bet your wife doesn't miss it either.
No.
Sarah, yeah, look, the more that I do this, the more I've realized that chronic inflammation is everything. Well, a lot of medical things are to do with inflammation, and the inflammation stems so much from our environment and in what we also put in our bodies.
Yes.
I was only just reminded of this morning. Actually, I've been using my computer a fair bit, and I've had chronic inflammation, like a repetitive strainage in my arms for like 40 years, 35, 40 years, and I've just realised this morning that it actually is a lot better than it has been. I can never remember. And it's not because I've been using my computer less, which was the only relief that I could get, was I just got to stop using my computer. And I think that it does take time for your body to heal as well. So you can start, and you can, if you want to resolve some issues, they can take a long time to develop. And this is like a good example. It's taken 25 years to develop. It's going to take some while. But I believe now, actually, just by me switching to carnivore, and I haven't done line or anything, that the inflammation has gone down, and now things are starting to heal, and it's starting to feel better, which is pretty bloody exciting, I've got to say.
Yes.
Low carb carnivore, that, and we lack minerals too. Yeah, I think that there's a lot to be learned about how minerals and vitamins are absorbed and used in the body in a when we don't have much inflammation. I think that's part of it too. So I think we're getting sufficient minerals if we're in a low inflammation situation. If we aren't, then that's where all the RDAs, I think, come into effect. Sweet New Year's Life, hello, thanks for joining us. Tracy Kinzel, thank you. Welcome. It's good to see you here. Shayna Haynes, hello Shayna. Shayna's, I think she's a big fan of a lot of channels actually, but she's always around on mine. I like seeing her around. What's carnivore dogs? Told cardiologist say I'm doing the elimination diet. She kept saying how good I look, kept doing what I'm doing. Good, excellent. Shine the light. Be the lighthouse, and not the foghorn. That's the way to go. All right, actually, Sweet New Year's Life, that's a hard one to get around my tongue around. Once had a peripheral vascular disease scare from mixing too many herbs in a smoothie. My doctor said, stop doing what you're doing. The combination is toxic. Interesting. Low carb carnivore, HS in the form of boils. What does HS actually stand for, Kerry?
It's a hard word to say. It's like hydrosupernative. I think I got that 90% correct. It's a really weird one. I had one of the doctors say the same thing. They're like, I got to look that one up. It's a tough one.
That's why they abbreviate it.
Yeah.
Shayna, no, Kerry never talks too much, does he? That's why he does need someone to bounce off and keep him reined in a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't have a teenage girl yet, Shayna, but she's 5, going on 15. I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
Speaks very well. All right, so I'll just run through a couple more, and then we'll keep going. That's right. Yeah, Shayna had 4 girls. I've got 3 sons and 1 daughter. And you've got triplet. Did I hear you say you've got triplets?
Yes, triplets plus 1. So Lily's the older one. She's the singleton, and then we have 16-year-old triplets.
I'm assuming that I'm pretty sure they're not identical. I think I would have noticed in one of your videos if they were. So they're like, that's 3. That's a pretty amazing. What's the odds of having triplets?
It's crazy. So we I believe it was like 8,000 to 1. It actually might be more than that. It was a complete surprise too. I know, like, some people, Dr. Kiltz was asking me that when I talked to him, because it was some people that do like fertility treatments and things like that, they're more likely to have it, but that wasn't the case for us. It was just natural. Yeah. And we didn't find out until 5 months. I don't know how that worked out, but for some reason my wife didn't get the ultrasound until 5 months. So it was actually at the ultrasound that we found out. It was crazy. The ultrasound tech was doing the ultrasound, and she was like, uh-oh. I was like, don't they train these people not to say, oh, that's like the worst thing you could say. And she said, we see there's another baby in there. Oh, there's 3. Oh, there's 4. Oh, no, it's just 3. I'm like, what is going on? And then I was just like, do they all look healthy? And thankfully they were all healthy. But yeah, to say that was the biggest shock of my life would be an understatement for sure.
Wow, that must have been a challenge after they were born.
Rod, it's a blur. People ask me that the first 5 years, it was like a diaper changing factory. You would change a diaper, feed, put one to sleep, and then you'd start it all over again. And we just did that for like a couple of years. I don't even remember it anymore.
Well, you made it. They made it. It's made you a completely different human being as a result of that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sarah's got 3. There you go. I think if you've got more than one, you're doing well to keep your sanity. Indeed, I think bless all the mums and all the dads, Shayna, for sure. Yeah, look, I'm not the first person that said meet people without. That was just something I heard Dr. Kilt say, but I think it's a really good way to live your life, and it means that you're, I think particularly in any sort of intervention like carnivore, that sort of thing, because people make such big dramatic improvements in their life, then it's easy to get very evangelistic. And that can be a real turn off for people. So I'm conscious of that because then it denies people the opportunity to try it out for themselves. So yeah, that's why it's important to meet people with our undiagnosed lioness. Hello to you. Welcome. Coming from Alabama. I've seen you on a couple of the other channels in the comments. Question from Shayna for you, Kerry. Have you... Is that pound on any refrigerators? Have you been pounding on a refrigerator, have you?
I did a video a couple days ago. I was pretty obnoxious, but I made one of the best steaks I've ever made. I reverse seared, slow smoked this really thick ribeye and then cooked it on cast iron skillet. And yeah, I get really obnoxious when I eat a good steak. My wife Jen was filming me, and I did a little thing on on the refrigerator. So
Okay.
yeah, I do that. Shayna, thanks. I do this other thing too, where I eat a really good bite of steak, and it's like I'm on a roller coaster. I just put my hands up like this, and it drives my wife insane.
I've seen that. That's in the restaurant. Driving. Okay, well I can understand why that would drive your wife insane.
Yeah, I get a little obnoxious. There's something with eating a fatty steak; it fires me up.
You don't really care too much what people think, which I think is a healthy thing. That's
Yeah, I used to. I don't on carnivore.
Yeah. Well, you become a bit of a rebel and an outlier in a way. Especially like as far as we're not conforming to what mainstream society says that we should do. And anytime you sort of whenever you embrace that particular ethos, I think, then you just care so much less what people think. And people eventually, the good ones, the important people, they respect it, and you make more friends. Cool friends.
Yes, absolutely.
Susan, yeah, I can't imagine having 4 girls actually, because boys can get pretty broody as well, but I guess it's different for girls. Carnivore Run, you helped to raise 3 daughters. Good for you, sir. And there was 3 boys thrown into the mix too. Oh my God. So you had like 6 at one stage or something by the sounds of it. That sounds interesting. Random question from Sarah. Do you think meat soaked in gluten-free white vinegar and dried biltong is an issue, particularly the vinegar? Well, I'd say if it's not an issue for you, Sarah, then it's all good. Conduct your own experiment. I think there's a lot of things that sort of fall outside, well, this is carnivore, this isn't. Well, I think what's more important is whether it actually works for you. I could say, well, strictly speaking, coffee is not really carnivore too, because it comes from plants. Dr. Chaffee would say, no way, Jose. But it seems to be okay for me, and maybe there's like a little percentage better, but I really do enjoy it. I've tried being without it. Didn't seem to make much difference. So I'm going to keep my coffee, thank you. I put white vinegar in. Sometimes it's really good for breaking down very collagenous cuts of meat. So I throw a bit in, just see how it goes. If you think that you might be having an issue, well, make some biltong without it and see if there's any difference. And make that the way to figure it out. So some people do like that you talk a lot, Kerry. That's good because some people. I've had to learn how to talk a lot because I was one of these people that would sit in a corner at a social function and try not to look like I was actually there.
Right.
So thanks to YouTube for that, for curing that problem.
I'm making up for lost time because, like I said, before carnivore, I was the quietest person in the room. I never really said much.
Yeah, and I think there's a certain it's something you've got to be able to formulate words and thoughts and get a thing going in your brain. I think once you've got your brain working at peak capacity, then suddenly you're able to string together words, and I think that's got probably a fair bit to do with it as well. If you walk around with brain fog, well, it's hard to kind of get something going, get a train of thought going, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let's see if we've got... Jennifer TX Carnivore, welcome. I'm often with Jennifer TX Carnivore and Dr. Kiltz's 5 a.m. meetup. I don't know if you've ever been to one of those, Kerry. It's 5 a.m. for him, but it's 7 p.m. for me Often see
Yeah.
Jennifer there. Yes, Kerry is not quiet. That is for certain. And yeah, look, I think that yeah, anytime you improve your health, then you're a more vibrant person. It's normal that you sort of your personality does come out, which is good. And g'day, well done. You even you missed the apostrophe, Jennifer. It's got to have an apostrophe in it. G apostrophe day.
Right.
But g'day from Australia. All right, so I've got a question here for you, Kerry. It's from Susan. Are you making plans to travel to your next destination for making a documentary? Yeah, tell us about that.
Susan's the greatest, by the way. Love you, Susan.
Oh,
Always,
100%.
always got great comments. Good question too. Absolutely. I'm so thankful for the 24-hour live stream. It was a big success. I'm thankful that it's over with, so I can go and continue filming now. We have kind of two plans. Well, I was gonna do like a big announcement, but I'll just mention it here. I kind of briefly mentioned it before. The plan is to go to Alberta, Canada, and film Maggie. If you guys aren't familiar, Maggie is the 82-year young woman that's been doing carnivore for I think 60 years now. She was on,
She's
she
so
was with
she's got the
Dr.
ranch.
Chaffee. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So there was a famous photo with Dr. Chaffee and her on Instagram a while back. And Dr. Chaffee did a really good interview with her, I think a couple months back. And yeah, so she's 82. She's been doing carnivore, and she seems like she doesn't seem like an 82-year-old at all. She doesn't look like one either.
Hell
But
no.
the plan, right? The hope is I've been talking to her. I've been talking to her daily. She's great. Like we're best friends now. It's so cool. Dr. Chaffee introduces. The thing was she's kind of shy. She didn't want to do the video with Dr. Chaffee, but she's really fired up about carnivore and Dr. Chaffee. So I asked her if it'd be okay if I came out there and filmed her respectfully, and she agreed. So we don't have anything booked yet. The thing I'm waiting on right now is Canada has some really strict rules. If I try to fly into, I have my passport now too, so I've got everything's prepared and ready to go. But if I fly into Canada with all my camera equipment and gear, I might get flagged at the border. And like, do you have a work visa? Do you have a permit? What are you doing here? So I'm trying to get all of that in order. And I've been working on that for a while, and it's slow going on the Canada side, not my side. So it's either going to be that, or I'm just going to hit the road and start filming in the United States, going down over to Chicago, Ohio, and then all the way down, hitting like every state. There's many people that I'm interested in starting to film for the documentary. So very soon. And I wish it was like right now. I can't wait. I'm pretty fired up about it.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. There was a video that Dr. Chaffee did about the, I think it's her property that has the oil reserves on it, and that whole situation there that he's trying to shed light on what the farmers actually, the return that they have from the land being used as opposed to the oil companies. And it's really eye-opening. I just can't imagine their absolute passion for working on the land and with their animals must be really something to not want to go, okay, well, this is just all too hard, I'll just go and do something else instead.
Right.
I know that about those people.
Yeah, me too. That's I'm really interested in filming her because she's been a carnivore for so long. She's thriving. She looks way younger, but also just from the aging perspective. We got my friend Carnivore Ron on here. Carnivore Ron was one of the first people I interviewed on my channel, and he's just thriving there he is. He's just thriving in his 60s. And after I did that video with Ron, I'm so thankful. I had so many people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s telling me, I've been doing carnivore for 4 or 5 years now. I'm just thriving. I don't have these issues other people do that are mobility issues and pain and stuff like that. I couldn't believe it too, because in my head, I'm like, if I was 70, I can't imagine switching my diet and just eating meat only. It seems like such a drastic thing, but I'm wrong. There's a lot of people out there doing that. And Rod, you can relate to aging. I can relate to aging. Everyone can. So aging is a big part of the documentary. Ron's 71. Looks amazing.
Yeah.
So
it's easy to think once you get past 50 that, that's it. Well, statistically, it's like I think I heard Andrew Huberman say, well, once you go past 40, statistically, you're going to lose 3 to 5% of your strength every year. and you're going to, it's something huge, like 8 to 10% of your power and your muscular speed. And there's all these things he could tell you, but they are, after all, statistics, and they encompass the entire population. And I can tell you without a word of a doubt, I'm stronger, fitter, leaner. I can lift more. I can go faster at 52 than I ever have before. So it's not that you can't actually improve your health and improve your athletic performance and your physique, etc. as you get older. You've just got to work at it. That's it. And you've just got to make sure that you are fueling your body correctly.
Right.
Yeah. So I saw one here. Oh, Jennifer, I love how people get up early or late to go and to tune into a live stream. And
Right.
I didn't, at 4 a.m., that's early. I mean, I don't mind getting up early, but to get up early to go to a live stream, that's commitment for sure. So let's have a go at pronouncing this.
There it is.
Hydrodenitis suppurativa. Okay, I got it. Yeah, hydrodenitis suppurativa. There you go. Thank you for that, Low Carb Carnivore. Appreciate you
Nice.
giving us a bit of schooling on that one. Absolutely, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that. She's just a very humble person, and she's so, she does. I think the reason why she didn't want to be filmed because she didn't want people to feel sorry for her. And you have to admire that. People she's just been slugging it out. She goes, well, this is what I love. This is what I'm doing. And sure, it's not the best of situations, but I don't really want to have, a big light shine on me. But I think it would be great for her to be able to tell her story and for other people to learn more about what she's doing. I think it's
Yes,
just
and I
terrific.
have an ulterior motive as well. It's just I'm so fired up now. I did a video with my neighbor where I get my grass-fed beef from, and just seeing how underappreciated this man is, working full-time, making pennies as a family farm, raising his own beef. He works full-time at a factory, and then every time I drive by his property, I drive by it every day. If I'm there at 5 a.m, he's out in the fields. 6 o'clock at night, he's in the fields, and then in between for 8 hours, he's at a factory working. And they're just barely able to make ends meet. And I'm like, who's going to do this? What next generation is going to pick this up and do these family farms? And he's a wonderful guy too. He has so much love and care for his animals. He's a good steward of the land. He's doing everything right. So I did a video with him, and I'm like, I want to raise up the voices of these people. My whole goal is doing this carnivore diet documentary. But then I'm like, well, part of that is, where do we get our food? What do we got to eat? I got to address that in the documentary too. So that's the other reason I want to talk to Maggie, because she's raising her own beef and she's barely getting by. I just keep hearing this story over and over again. And unless as a world, we want to just rely on huge corporations to get our meat from, these big factory farms and stuff like that, we've got to get the word out and raise the voices up and support these people that are doing independent family farms and ranches.
Yeah. I think as much as we can, we've got to try and support them. I mean, I've got a very, very restricted budget, and one time I bought a box of like a half lamb from a farmer. They're called the Conscious Farmer, and they're here in the New South Wales country, and it was so good. But the reality is that it's around 2 to 3 times more expensive than meat that I can buy from Aldi. So there's two things about that. I think support them if you can, and try to make adjustments if you can, because that's the only way those farmers will be able to actually keep on doing what they're doing. But at the same time, don't let it stop you. It's like if all you've got access to is cheap meat, then that's don't wait till you've actually got a perfect solution. It's still a better solution than pretty much anything else you could eat.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Barry did an awesome video on that. He's like, if you got to eat bologna, it's still like 100 times better than standard American diet or whatever you were eating before. So I totally agree with that. Do what you can.
Yeah, there was something I saw. I haven't seen many videos about this, about the blue zone research. There was a blue zone video, and then there's a lot of sort of counter points of view to that. And I thought it was interesting that in one of the blue zones, they generally say, they're trying to say, well, blue zones, people don't eat meat. Well, it's actually rubbish. In the one in Japan, their favorite dish is spam. I thought that was interesting. They just love spam. They do spam in so many different ways, and it is literally, it's not a national thing, but for that particular region, which is in a blue zone where people live for a very long time, they eat heaps and heaps of spam.
Interesting.
Yeah. So let's see. Carnivore Ron, look good. That good in. I hope you look good in that. God, I can't string words here. I hope you look that good in 11 years. Carnivore is a natural food. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in Canada, and we get to learn about it from guys like Jordan Peterson, don't we? I just thought,
Yeah.
wow, it's some pretty crazy stuff going on. Jennifer T. It's Carnivore. Kerry, put Apple tags in any luggage to keep an eye on it, so if lost in transit, you know where it is. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really good tip. That one. I don't know. Do you use those at all? Like the tiles?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. And I'm so panicked. Like when Em and I flew to Alaska, I had like the critical stuff. It was so heavy, but I had the critical stuff I needed in my backpack and I carried it on just in case it was lost. I could still film. But yeah, my other stuff that I checked in, definitely those tags are the way to go.
Yeah. Now, Melissa, thanks for pointing this out. Give, Send, Go. I've never heard of them before, and there is one for Maggie to help her keep all of her land. I was not aware of that. If you don't mind dropping that into the chat, or you can email it to me separately, Melissa, and I'll actually put that in the description for this video, so it's somewhere permanent after we're done. Carnivore Ron, you are 71. Well done, sir. I think Carnivore Ron's actually coming to my channel at some point.
He's
I
wonderful.
like, yeah, and I like this getting in the gym. It's so important. I don't bang on about this enough, but I probably should. Is that the only way that you're going to get to maintain your muscle mass is if you actually use it. You've got to work out. You've got to lift weights, and don't just lift little weights. Like lift heavy stuff, and that will you won't have your bone structure and your muscle structure relies on you actually breaking it down and using it so that it can repair itself and grow. And I just see, people in their 50s and 60s, they start having issues with, getting brittle bones and other things, and joint issues with their joints. And oh God, you can just avoid all that rubbish if you just lift weights and eat properly.
Right.
But yeah,
Another cool thing with Carnivore Ron is I know he does a lot of various types of stretching exercises too. Some pretty extreme stuff he was telling me about before. So yeah, he'd be a fun guest to have for sure.
Yeah. Jennifer T. It's Carnivore. You should update your profile pic so we can see what you look like. A great non-scale victory in the gym this morning. Excellent. You want to share some more about that one, Ron? I imagine it was some sort of lift. Was it like a 1 rep max? Sometimes it's fun to do 1 rep maxes. What sort of exercise do you do, Kerry, when you get out in the yard?
Yeah, so I always tell people I didn't lose any weight by exercising. I didn't start exercising till I'm bad with dates, but maybe day 60 on carnivore. I really started feeling better and having more energy. I always hated that before when I was overweight, people telling me, oh, you got to just exercise, go out and walk. And I was in such a miserable state. I couldn't bring myself to exercise before. I likened it to before it was like I had pneumonia or the flu or something. And so I couldn't exercise. But once I started feeling better, I would exercise. I go out and I've been using the resistance bands. I like doing pull-ups. That's another thing. I got hooked on
Great.
doing
It's a great
carnivore.
exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, we have this little gazebo outside.
Overhand or underhand? Oh, yeah.
I do both. Yeah, I do both. We have a pull-up bar now I put in the house, and so I go both ways with it. And then the resistance bands, those have been wonderful. We got some on Amazon. They're great. You can take them traveling. They're lightweight, but I like it because I have them outside. I just have a couple outside. So I have this one area. I started doing this, I think, around day 60. Something like the carnivore thing, all the food changed, right? But then I started watching other videos and learning more. And for me, carnivore is just being natural, eating what humans are naturally supposed to eat. I started doing more natural things, like I'd leave the curtains open. And when the sun would come in the morning, that'd be the first light that would hit my eyes is sunlight, nothing artificial, not my phone or anything. And then I started waking up earlier, and then I started going outside. So every morning for probably like 100 days, I go outside. And then I did this crazy thing I heard people talk about and I thought was nuts, the grounding thing, where I'm like, it's morning, I'm just in my shorts here, I'm just going to go outside with no shoes on. I get my feet in the grass. I'm like, this actually feels really good getting my feet in the grass in the morning. It's summertime. I thought that grounding stuff, I've heard it from people. I'm like, that just sounds like some crazy stuff, but I'm convinced now. I do it every day and I feel great. I feel so much better doing that. I don't know if it's a placebo. I don't understand the science behind it, but I feel better doing it. And I go for a walk, I get sunshine, and then I go off to the little corner of our property and I do the resistance bands, and I do pull-ups, and I do that pretty much every day. The only other thing I started doing recently was I got some dumbbells, those adjustable ones where you can dial them around, and I put those right next to my computer at home, and I'm in and out of there all day. I'll edit, then I'll go do something, make a steak for lunch. I'll come back, and I've turned it into a little game. I can't go past those without lifting them a couple times. It's weird on carnivore because you get this excess energy. It's like I gotta get this energy out, or I'll be up till 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I've never exercised before carnivore, and now I can't go a day without doing some sort of exercise.
Excellent, excellent. And what about push-ups? Do you do any push-ups?
Yes. Yeah. I do push-ups. I have like, I don't know. It's just kind of been evolving, but I go out, we have this kind of this porch platform, this wood decking, and I'll go out there and I'll do push-ups. I'll do some crunchies. I'll do the pull-ups, and then I'll do the resistance bands. I'll do like a whole bunch of different things. And then another thing I've been doing lately too is my whole life I've never really meditated, but I'll just I'm pretty much, I guess I'm meditating without knowing it. I'll just sit there and just do like some deep breathing for a while, and I do that every morning. I feel so much better when I do that. So
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's something I reincorporated back into my before I actually get out. That's the time to do it. I think I think and just without any real purpose other than just to be still for 15 or so minutes
yes.
is great. Shayna Haynes, I don't believe that you're 47 from that. No, I think you're telling us lies, actually. You look a lot younger than that. So, yeah, I actually I don't know about you, but I like to get up early. Yeah, so if I can get to bed early, like 8:30, then there's nothing better than getting up at 4. And the grounding thing that when you mentioned that in your video, I started that too. So it's probably heaps of other people did. And now that there's, I walk in a reserve that has a lot of grass. It's got a lot of bindies. We call them bindies here. I don't know what you call them there, but they're like the little prickles, and they're really they're not fun. And so I stopped. Like I just take my thorns and put them back on because I don't want to get a foot full of bindies. But even so, I still there's a bit of concrete path before I get there, so now when I get out of my apartment, I just take my shoes off and just walk barefoot, even on the concrete. And even that seems to be good. Like there's still some connection to the earth that's involved with that, and it's really I like it. It's good. I'm glad that you mentioned it because otherwise I wouldn't have done it. And I think it's made
my
a
only
difference.
concern now is heading into winter in Wisconsin. In my head, I'm like, I'm going to just keep doing this. And as it slowly gets colder and colder, I'm just going to like run faster, but I'm going to keep the shoes off and see how long. I'm going to turn that into a game too, see how long I can continue doing it. Plus it'll be entertaining for YouTube. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Ron is tucking his feet on each side of his hips, then lean backwards, touch my head. Wow, that is impressive.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. So it sounds like you weren't able to do that before and you've been working on it and now you can. Low carb carnivore, if we rely on the government to supply our meat, we'll be eating slopper bugs and tons of chemicals.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
true.
Yeah. It's we don't want to do that. I think we just rely on the government to provide us with our sort of essential infrastructure, and then we'll decide what we put in our bodies. Thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like carnivores are flexible. Now I've got a hard stop pretty soon, so I'm just going to quickly run through a few of these, and then we'll see if there's any final questions, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sure.
Absolutely, remember. Rob Coolstock, thanks for joining us. Not sure. Yeah, I think that if you wanted to be strict about the definition, you probably can't. But nonetheless, it still does have a fair amount of nutrition in it, more than what people realise, I think. You're working on a one-arm handstand.
Wow.
I'm going to give that a go.
71.
Actually. Yeah, that's amazing. All right. Here we go. Another tip from Jennifer. Text yourself, Emma, and your wife, Jen, your parking spot number in airport. Oh, okay. I think somebody might have mentioned that one too before one time.
We were so gung-ho, I wasn't paying any attention. I was like, go, 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 go. Yeah. Luckily, we figured it out.
All right, run through these last few comments. Everybody's loving Ron. Ron, you're getting all the praise. Good on you, mate. Let's see. Yeah, we want to see videos, Ron. So, absolutely. There's some great content ideas coming through for you. Special permission to record in the gym. Yeah, okay. All right, we'll work on it. See if you can work it out. I'll watch for sure. Who did we miss? I don't know.
Rod,
who
that would
Shannon's
be
talking to.
Rod. That would be a wonderful thumbnail if you had Carnivore Ron on doing a one-armed handstand in your thumbnail picture. It's 71 years old. That'd be something. That would get the clicks
Yeah.
for sure.
Great idea. Yeah, it's all about planning
Both
the
of
thumbnail
you.
before you.
Both
Yeah.
of you got to do it.
All right. Yeah, I can't say that I've done it, but I'm pretty sure that I could. Rob, yeah, getting sun and standing on the ground first thing in the morning has real neurological benefits. I believe there has been a study done, and I know, yes, you're right, Andrew Huberman spoke about it, but I haven't seen that, but I definitely will check it out. Wow, it's amazing how many people have tuned in. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and I'm struggling to keep up. I don't know how you would even begin to even try to keep up with this live streams on your channel, Kerry.
The 24-hour
I think
one. I'm still having nightmares about that one.
Yeah, I think everyone's had at least a couple of goes. I'll just see if I caught any at the bottom. Spam is huge in Hawaii. Didn't know that. Interesting. All right, final question for you, Kerry. What's playing in the theatre today?
Nothing today. On Friday. Right now we're just open weekends. Friday we're playing My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. So a lot of people
There's a
looking
third
forward
one.
to that one. Yeah. Looks pretty funny too. We need some more comedies like that. They don't have enough comedies coming out these days.
Yeah. All right. Have you got anything final that you want to leave the audience with before we wrap it up?
No, I guess if people want to check out my channel, it's HomeSteadHow. Otherwise, we have the website up. If anyone is interested in participating in the Carnivore Diet documentary, we're still taking people to register for that. We are starting to film though, but that is www.carnivoredietmovie.com.
All right, great. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. Kerry, thank you so much for being my guest today. I appreciate you taking the time out. I know you're a busy guy, busier than many other people that I know, and I really appreciate your time here today. And thank you everyone for joining us on the live stream today as well. And this was like a random one, so this isn't at the normal scheduled time. But for those of you who like to tune in, I'll be back again next Monday if you're in the USA, or Tuesday if you're in Australia.
Nice. Thanks for having me, Rod. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Alrighty, stand by. I'll just end. See you guys later.